Have you ever felt confused even though you were sure of what you were experiencing? Have you ever left a conversation believing that maybe you were the problem, even though you started out right? That's not an exaggeration. It's not drama. It has a name: emotional gaslighting. And the most dangerous thing? It doesn't shout, it doesn't hit, it doesn't threaten. It distorts. It makes you doubt yourself, your memories, your sanity. And little by little, without realizing it, you begin to live in an emotional labyrinth that he has created, where the only way to breathe is to apologize for feeling. This is why so many intelligent, strong, and loving women end up trapped in toxic relationships without knowing how they got there. The psychological abuse, the emotional manipulation, the distortion of reality. It all seems subtle at first. But one day, you wake up and no longer recognize your own voice. And then the question arises, how do you get out of this place and recover your truth? If you've been through this, or are still trying to figure out, if you have, this video will open your eyes, and perhaps finally your way back to yourself. At first, it just seems like a misinterpreted comment, a joke that made you feel awkward, or a correction that left you confused. He says something, you retort, but then you find yourself apologizing, without even knowing why. And so the cycle begins. Gaslighting creeps in silently. Little distortions here, that didn't happen there. And suddenly you no longer know if you saw what you saw, if you felt what you felt. It's not that you were naive. It's that he knew exactly where to hit. Phrases like, "You're too dramatic," or "Gee, how sensitive you are," start to appear after arguments that have left you shaken. And what's worse, he says it calmly, with the tone of someone who is trying to help. This kind of emotional manipulation doesn't shout, but whispers in a way that makes you doubt your own sanity. Little by little, the toxic relationship takes shape, and you don't even realize you're in it. It's a step-by-step deconstruction of your perception, until your own truth begins to seem too exaggerated. A woman who goes through this begins to invalidate her own feelings. Self-doubt becomes routine. If before she trusted what she saw, now she has to ask, am I really exaggerating? This is the emotional impact that hurts the most. No longer being able to trust her own reading of reality. And that's where the real mind control begins. Because when they distort reality from the outside, the world seems strange. But when he distorts reality inside you, everything falls apart. And that's when she starts to lose herself. She starts to wonder if she's crazy. But it's not madness. It's emotional manipulation. It's just that, little by little, the woman loses connection with her own intuition. Things that once seemed clear now seem hazy. She no longer knows if she can trust what she feels, what she sees, or what she remembers. The distortion of reality has taken root in such a way that even what was obvious now requires confirmation. This process doesn't happen overnight. It starts when she constantly seeks his approval for everything, from what, to where, to how to react, to an argument. And the most dangerous thing? She starts to think that this is love, that this mental control is care. But what she doesn't see is that her emotional insecurity is being fed by crumbs of validation. She clings to every positive gesture as a lifeline, and that's exactly what the manipulator wants. Recovering the center takes effort, because gaslighting is a subtle theft. But there are practical ways to reverse this game. One is to start writing down what you feel, what you've experienced, what you've noticed. Record everything. Write it down in a notebook. Create a diary of perception. Because when the mind starts to fail, the paper remembers, and that becomes a thread back into you. Where the strength that you no longer even know you have lives. He doesn't need to raise his voice. Just say that she made it up. That she saw too much, felt too much, misinterpreted. And because she's already weakened, she starts to believe it. Emotional manipulation at this stage is already so sharp that one sentence is enough to dismantle everything she felt. It's as if her emotions were constantly invalidated, and she began to doubt every reaction. The emotional impact of this is devastating. These phrases become weapons disguised as conversation. You're crazy. You're exaggerating. That never happened. And what's worse, they're usually accompanied by a calm, rational tone that makes it seem like she's the one in the wrong. Many women hear this so much that they internalize it. They start apologizing for feeling, for reacting, for existing. And then the toxic relationship becomes the new normal. A cycle of pain, disguised as care. To get out of it, the first step is to name what's happening. If you can recognize these phrases, it's already a sign of awakening. The next step? Test your perception with other reliable people. A friend, a therapist, someone who really sees you. Because when they say you're too sensitive, they're trying to silence you. But when you validate your own pain, you begin to recover your truth. And it's still there, waiting for you. It wasn't weakness. It wasn't blindness. It was history. When a woman remains in a toxic relationship, where there is emotional manipulation and distortion of reality, it is often because it somehow echoes what she experienced in childhood. If she grew up hearing that she was too sensitive, that she exaggerated, that she couldn't trust what she felt, then hearing this from a partner later on only reinforces what already hurt back then. And that's confusing, because what hurts can seem familiar. The truth is that if she has learned early on to invalidate her own feelings, psychological abuse sets in quietly. It's like a key that fits into the lock of an old wound. Perhaps, in childhood, she was taught to please, not to complain, to accept everything in exchange for crumbs of love. And then, when her partner says, "That never happened," she's so used to doubting herself that she doesn't even question it. This mental control goes back a long way. That's why it's so common for her to blame herself for not going out sooner. But the cure begins when she understands that it wasn't her fault. What she needs now is to start reconstructing this story, reframing it. It can be with small actions, writing about what she feels, seeking therapeutic help, creating safe spaces where she can be heard. Because it's only when she understands why she stayed that she begins to discover the strength she has to leave. Recovering your own voice isn't just about talking, it's about believing what you feel. After so long living under psychological abuse, being the target of gaslighting, hearing that it never happened, or that she was exaggerating, it's natural that she has lost her bearings. Self-doubt has become routine. But the way back begins in silence, with small gestures of reconnection. Listening to your intuition, questioning distortions, validating every emotion that was previously ignored. It is in this process that she begins to rebuild her self-esteem, and little by little, weaken the emotional impact of the manipulation. A useful practice is to keep an emotional diary, writing down what you feel, what you notice, and what you hear. This helps you regain confidence in your own perception and distinguish between what is real and what has been distorted. Seeking therapy is also a powerful anchor, and getting away, even temporarily, from those who insist on invalidating your feelings can be liberating. More than freeing herself from the toxic relationship, she needs to find herself again. Remember who she was before she doubted so much. Strengthen her inner listening. Nurture the self-love that has been depleted over time. Because, at the end of the day, getting out of mind control isn't just about getting out of a relationship. It's about reconnecting with the whole woman she's always been. And when that connection is reestablished, everything changes from the inside out. Now that you understand how gaslighting works, what still holds you back with this constant self-doubt? How long will you allow someone to invalidate your feelings, distort your reality, and take away your peace? It's time to stop apologizing for feeling, for thinking, for seeing what's real. You're not crazy. You were manipulated. And And now, you know it. So tell me, what's going to be different from now on? Are you going to continue silencing your voice, or are you going to start rebuilding it? Share in the comments if you've experienced something similar, or if you know someone who needs to hear this truth. Because every time we speak, another woman wakes up. And if this content made sense to you, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. There's a lot we still need to talk about, and you deserve to hear it.